Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a special interim episode of the Old World Behemoths podcast. My name is Alasdair. I am a behemoth because I took a 520-point dragon to a 1,500-point tournament. With me on the line this evening, I have, of course, Alex, who's the other gigantic behemoth. In fact, probably the most relevant behemoth, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But we also have a couple of very special guests joining us this evening. Welcome to Paddy from the 2 Plus podcast. And of course, I'm going to scroll my mouse through this. Welcome to Paddy from the 2 Plus podcast. Welcome to Andrew from Old World Fanatics. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us, and welcome.
Thanks for having us, guys.
It's been maybe a long time coming, but it's fabulous to get you both on the pod as I don't know, it's probably going to be more a YouTube video than a podcast episode, but lovely to have you both here. Really keen to hear how you're running up to Winter Warfare. But before we get into the juicy stuff, a quick shout out and thank you to our patrons, Death 1942, Ghost Joshua 6, Silver Dave, Jeff and Gomo. Thank you so much for being our patrons. You help us keep producing content and help pay for our website subscription. Thank you also to 25 Creative for keeping us beautiful with all the graphics that we've got going out all the time. Without further ado, Alex, you want to talk? It's a big event week, and you wanted to talk about some bits and pieces that have been going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's if you hang around the Facebook page, you would have seen some of these come up. But we keep talking about the fact that Oldhammer's a 40-player event, and it's probably easy to forget that there's big events happening around Australia all the time. And this week we seem to have hit a trifecta. I may have even got it incorrect because I think there was an event in Tasmania as well. 42 players at Snake Eyes. It was a teams event, but to no doubt, 42 Old World players is great. Andrew, you had Alex Bucket, I think is his nickname, on last night, and it seems like he flew from Sydney. So again, the Old World scene is alive. It's not just Oldhammer, guys. I mean, did you know that it exists outside of Oldhammer?
Shockingly, I mean, it's a confronting thing to learn that we're not the only people playing Warhammer: The Old World. But it's nice to know, and good to see an event in WA. Like, how good's that?
I feel like WA started really strong, didn't it? I think, Andrew, you had a WA guy on early, probably like coming up to a year ago, I reckon now, and he was like growing this scene and everything. But then I think they hit some sort of snag or something, and people dropped off.
I think from memory serves right from Beyond Odyssey.
Yeah, down in Fremantle.
Yeah. Can we just also pause and have a look at the Victorian gaming arena?
I know, it's hectic. Yeah.
That's pretty intense.
That's at a brewery. I think that's a brewery too.
Which, I mean, all the better, right?
Is there anything in Sydney like that? Is there a tabletop gaming centre?
I don't know. I mean, those are pretty custom tables.
Yeah,
those
looks hectic.
Yeah, like it's I mean, it's a fabulous setup. But I don't know if anyone knows from Sydney, if anyone manages to watch this, drop us a line in the comments if you know of something that's similar to this. I've never seen anything like that outside of the UK before.
Is that guy in the front left?
Of like the LVO.
Is he wearing a sailor's hat?
Yeah. I don't know if that was meant to be a team captain's thing or something like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. There are a few of them, actually. If you take a look around, there are a couple.
That's also the captain. Yeah, cool.
Nice. Love it. Absolutely love it. It's been, I suppose, from that event, it's been pretty nice to see quite a high hobby standard as well.
Yeah. And I think gone are the days now where it's like, oh, we're back. We'll just do a kind of couple of contrast paints. We're really seeing the high level hobby coming out now, which is a shame because I'm a mediocre painter at best. So every time Oldhammer grows, I'm like, no. There's going to be a better painter there.
You say this, and yet your array of tools and the things that you get to experiment with grows with every passing week.
I need them.
Mate, spare a thought for us with our 5-year-old Games Workshop paints and brushes that haven't been replaced since long before my children were born.
I tried to revitalize a dried up what is it,
Oh, look
Xandri
at Andrew.
dust or something, like shaking water in a dried up
Oh
one.
yeah,
Like,
no.
come on.
No, that's gone,
No.
Paddy. It's gone.
No.
But if you just on the left, the Empire models, the basing's insane, but just the overall vibe is nailed, absolutely nailed here. But the fact that first of all, a guy has the same STL files that I use for Chaos Marauders, which is awesome. But secondly, he's done non-metallic metal.
Yeah, he's actually painted them properly rather than just throwing some contrast paints on there, and yeah, it's
Ooh.
fine.
Get
fine.
horses' asses to look that good. Look at them.
It's
They're
gotta
like-
be it's gotta be an airbrush, right? Like that
Yeah,
powdered
it's so
look.
soft.
That powdered
Yeah.
look comes from an airbrush. Gotta be.
Yeah,
It's
it
beautiful.
looks
Yeah.
It is good. Yeah. Exceptional.
All right. Well, before we get too depressed, because we're going to show some models from our own armies.
Yeah. And hang on,
But,
talking about tools, Andrew, you've got a plethora of tools behind you. I can see a FDM printer.
That I still can't work out. I bought a second-hand job in. It was like, oh yeah, it's all good because it had like quite a big like build area.
Yep.
And then got it home and it's just fail print after fail print.
Oh
So now I'm just
no!
like shotgunning random parts to change, and yeah, I don't know what I'm doing either. So it just doesn't.
Well, maybe a good opportunity to pick Alex's brain and our friend Jeff,
Jeff.
if you haven't already.
Yeah.
The masters of FDM printing,
Yeah,
which as we covered in the last episode, appears to be an entire profession within itself. So
Religion
lots
is probably a more
of-
accurate
of-
definition.
It appears so. Yeah, they're not. Yeah. Not that easy.
Amazing. All right. Well, let's talk about what we're really here to talk about. We're all going to Winter Warfare, the latest Western Sydney Wargamers event, coming up this Saturday, and it has crept up on us like you wouldn't believe. Alex, you're still frantically painting?
Of course.
Yeah. Paddy, have you got anything left?
I got 6 Black Orcs left.
Wonderful. That's an easy dunk in some Nuln oil. What about you, Andrew? What have you got left?
Yeah, everything's good. But just like a decent tabletop. For me, it's almost like the model never stops. You just always, you're like, oh yeah, I'll go back to some highlights here, and then put them down. Then you come back, and
And you
I
never
get that.
do.
yeah.
I get
get
that. I keep talking about that for the dragon that I played in that event and then put away, and I'd keep going, oh, it would look so much better with these highlights, or I could go back and plug this gap and repaint this, and it's just like, nope, it's sitting there collecting blue foam.
Dragon's job is done. It annihilated 16 fucking people at 1,500 points.
3. Thank you very much. All right. So we've got a couple of really interesting missions. Now, Paddy's done some math for us and a little bit of statistical analysis, which I suppose we'll get to in a little bit. But we've covered these missions in previous pods. I think anyone who's going has done a pod or a YouTube video on these missions. But just to highlight, I suppose, we've got 3 quite objective-based missions, and the big call-outs for Winter Warfare are the points balances in terms of what you need to achieve via points differences between you and your opponent are on 250 point increments, which means that it's quite hard without completely wiping your opponent out to actually achieve quite high victories, which makes all of the objectives, given that they award anywhere from 2 to what I think the highest one might be 5 battle points or 4 battle points.
Max, yeah.
4. So 2 to 4 battle points that you can achieve from each mission. That makes a huge difference to your overall score and, frankly, to the outcome of the battle. So it might not even end up with one person who clearly won the game actually winning the game if their opponent is able to actually hold the objectives. Big elements here in terms of scoring as well are that units with banners are scoring. And again, Paddy, I won't steal your thunder because you're going to talk about that in a little while. But 3 missions, super high level in terms of what we've got going on. We've got the 2 towers. There are 2 big tower buildings in the middle. You get 2 battle points for occupying a tower at the end of the game.
I think
Alec?
I was going to say here, Andrew, I think you mentioned this last night in your stream, potentially, or maybe it was last week, about building for the towers or not.
Yeah.
And I played in the 2+ warm-up event, and I guess the vibe was very much, do you bring a unit, rush it in, and then just try to bunker it in, and things like missile troops, dwarf iron drakes would be like phenomenal at that job. I mean, they're only movement 3, but getting them in might be hard. But the point is going in and staying there, or are you jostling to get them out? So, it's kind of that, do you go in early or go in late? And, I'm interested if you guys have built to go in fast or not. And as we go down the list, not everybody has built to bring scoring units. In fact, some people literally are relying on their characters jumping out of units to run in, because you can only go maximum unit strength 10. And looking at the list, some of them might have 1 or 2, or I think there's a Lich Priest in one, which is basically the scoring unit.
Well, we know Alex has built for every mission, metagamer that he is.
We'll go into that.
Andrew, have you built your list with this mission in mind?
Yes. I put units in that could do every mission, basically.
Fair.
It's not like I didn't build hard into it, as you'll see, but yeah, they can take it.
Okay. What about you, Paddy?
Yeah, well, I was initially planning to bring Nomadic War before this tournament pack came out, which is obviously not very suited for infantry capturing towers. So I pivoted to Grand Army so I could bring Black Orcs to take a tower, but I only have a unit of 10 Black Orcs, and my wizard on foot could leave the unit that I'm probably going to put it in to capture it late game. But to Alex's point of how to go about it, Alex, my brother Alex, the other half of 2+, we tested this together early on, and I think both think it's about the last minute swoop at the end, because if magic missiles are everywhere, and particularly in all of these lists, and that's kind of the equalizer in this scenario. Yes, you get defense from shooting, and as in like ballistic skill shooting and war machines, and you get better offensive shooting, but magic like wind blast still wrecks you, fireball still wrecks you. So and you're basically on a hill up there that everyone can see you, so it has its downside. So I actually think going second in this one is a big advantage.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And I suppose to that point, there's no defense against magic missiles when you're in those towers, unless you're a caster yourself and you can try and dispel. But there is no defense. You get bonuses against conventional shooting, but there is no defense against the magic missile, which is just rolling hits.
What's interesting is we have no idea how far apart the boys are going to place the towers. No, I think most people in the warm-up game, I tried it. At 2+, we only had 1 tower, and that was literally just a logistical challenge to overcome. We played about 12 inches apart, but who knows? Do you remember that Oldhammer event we turned up to, and it was like, oh, there's a scoring forest in the middle, and it took up like half the board.
It was 2 giant forests connected.
Yeah.
Yes.
So who knows? It could be 20 inches apart.
Yeah.
Oh, another.
They were a bit further.
Yeah,
apart.
I think so. I would too.
You can't just dominate the center. You'd have to actually be quite strategic on where you're going.
Yeah,
definitely. Another quick one to point out about the players pack. All difficult terrain, forests, I should say, forests specifically, are dangerous terrain. So they are not just difficult, they are dangerous, as I learned to my extreme, or rather I experienced to my extreme chagrin in the last Oldhammer that I came to playing against Wood Elves, who were just generating little forests in front of me, having a good time. Hey, Paddy. All right, let's move on.
He's not salty at all.
Let's move on to mission 2. Mark, I bear you no ill will, but you do that to me again, and I swear to God, I'm going to flip the table. Game 2.
By the way, I think Wood Elves are now the majority faction. By the way, Alasdair. Yeah,
perfect.
You watch your mouth.
I'm so excited. Battlefield Superiority is mission number 2. This one is all about table quarters. You need standard bearers in a table quarter, wholly within, really important wording, wholly within a table quarter to control it. From there, you've got musician breaks ties, then unit strength. 1 or more zones, you get a battle point. More zones than your opponent, however, 3 battle points. So another really important one for having lots of banners and building into a little bit of mobility. Right, Alex?
Look, I didn't realize this until the 2+ event, but this mission is going to make and break friends. I'm telling you right now. Because the player with the most banners wholly within. So if you forget the musicians and forget, tiebreakers, etc., the 40-point peasant scoring unit, 2 of those can roll in and outscore Paddy's 10 Black Orcs in there. And so if you've got the ability to not only capture the most quarters, but importantly, you can block Andrew from getting one.
Yeah.
It does feel for quite a few people, well, I mean, nearly maybe all the missions in this player's pack, there is a distinct advantage to going second. And I'm very interested to see, or rather, I have been very interested to see just how many lists have sort of thought about that from a mobility standpoint, and whether or not people are reaching, probably like myself, to play aggression more than playing sort of calculated defense in order to score those last round points. But that freedom in that final movement round to be able to pick what's going where, particularly with the more standard bearers wording there, I feel like is going to be super important.
Yeah.
I think when I tested this again with Alex, this one, and I said it after playing it, but now looking at the terrain, probably could play more defensively. I think this one leans itself more though into a bash 'em up style, and I think naturally table quarters plays out that way. It's too hard to just. I don't think a lot of people are like, I'm just going to sit here for 5 turns.
Yeah.
I think in the next one that's a different story.
Yeah.
But this one is like if. I know Alex Searle has plague drones, so I presume he's just going to sit behind impassable terrain and then march 18 out of there or whatever their fucking fly distance is.
You're forgetting his 2 level 4s that might also get.
We don't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about that.
Might also get Steed of
Let's talk
Shadows
about
to
Andrew's
fly
list
noble
instead.
plague bearers.
Yeah.
But-
Anyway,
I don't know.
Paddy.
I think it's still like there's not a lot of places to hide except for your final 5th of the board. Like you have to be out in the open, which means combat will happen. And my experience generally with table quarters is there's a huge fight for 4 turns, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, quarters!
Yeah.
run over there, run over here, run over there."
I would say at the warm-up event, the hiding behind a hill was definitely a tactic, right? With your scoring unit.
Yeah.
And we'll go into this later, but my list is not built to go and kill your scoring units like that aggressively. So somebody like Andrew's your general flying. Is he on a flying monster? Okay. So you've got a flying monster. It's going to be way better in this specific mission. In fact, I think you're going to have a way better time in the first and second mission because he can assault the tower too, of course. That you can actually go and track down the guy hiding behind the hill. But to Paddy's point, I think the vibe was very much the open field in the middle. I don't know. My game against Jake, he had like great cannons and Hellblaster volley guns, and I was like, I'm not even touching that middle ground because that's just gonna.
Yeah.
fair enough.
Well, I've actually, funnily that, because I'm playing Alex 2+ Alex, and yeah, I don't know if you've seen his list, but I don't know how far I'll be pushing forward too quick like this.
I'm not sure anyone really wants to walk into a vile tide re-rolling wounds.
Yeah. Well, I've got like no save against that. I'm just like, I'm just going to get absolutely smoked. So we'll see. We'll see.
Indeed. Final mission. Relatively straightforward. Whoever has the most banners wins.
Yes.
There is a bonus point for having a standard bearer within your opponent's deployment zone, but frankly, that takes a huge backseat to just having more standard bearers than your opponent. 3 battle points for having more at the end of the game, and we will see the armies who have absolutely catered for this outcome when we look at your stats, Paddy. Did it sort of cross your mind, Paddy, when you were building your list, that you wanted to try and just cram as many banners as possible for this mission in particular?
not that far, but I knew I had to bring a certain amount of banners. That when we see this bar chart in a sec, some people have thought that way, and I think it's probably like you will win generally. I think if you start the game with more like double banners than your opponent, this one lends itself a lot more to like, hey, catch me if you can.
Yeah.
Where the other one, the second one, is a bit more like there's easier confrontations to have. But I think this one, if you have say 12 banners. And two of those units can skirmish, fly 20 inches. They're not getting caught ever. So that's two that you will keep. And when I tested this, I've only played this one once, and we drew, and we both had the same amount of banners, but we only brought 3 each that game. And that was when I realized, like, nah, you just bring. And I ended up bringing, see later, 5. And one of the last things I did was put a unit of 5 Wolf Riders in my list with a champion and a banner. Because it was just another scoring thing.
And can they
Andrew,
skirmish?
Andrew, when you were putting your list together, was that a consideration that you thought you might have to deal with an opponent that had 12 banners?
Yeah, it was to a degree. And I've always got, and I'm sure you guys are the same, you got that sort of like contrast between if I lose a banner, you're losing points, but it seems like the way that the points are allocated, like as you were saying before, for they're quite, dispersed between. You really need to wipe your opponent out quite a lot, to be getting a decent amount of points. And if you can just scrape through an extra 3 points by having a couple more banners, it's definitely worth the risk of just loading up with banners.
It is an interesting thought in that any banner that's captured by your opponent awards them 50 victory points, right? So while we're seeing in terms of the points increments for victories be those 250 point blocks, it becomes a little bit more achievable if you're able to capture a lot of banners and you're able to do that. So I wonder, depending on how mobile some of these armies with lots of banners are, I wonder whether or not that might ultimately have a swing. But 3 battle points at the end of the game, that's 750 victory points worth of battle points. So you would nearly totally have to wipe out your opponent just to counterbalance the fact that they might have more banners than you.
Yeah, and Paddy, you guys discussed this on your episode with the Old World Fanatics crew. Great episode, by the way. Loved it. I think I've listened to it twice now in the car and other things.
Thanks.
Now, Alex Brown's favorite line is, I think he said you got to take the axe to your opponent, or if they've got less banners. But 750 points differential. Just minimum 3. You don't even need to go for the enemy deployment zone to get that 1. But I think for me, mission 1 is the hardest. 2 and 3 become easier. And I think, Andrew, for you, it's almost a reverse. It's like mission 1 is your easiest, and then this is probably the hardest.
Yeah. Well, with the amount of banners getting around compared to me...
Well, it depends who you play, right?
Yeah, well, that's it. But if I did face somebody with 7 or 8, I'd be in a bit of strife. Because that's the other problem as well. You don't want to risk your units with banners in these games.
No.
So then it's like Paddy's got his Wolf Riders with his banner, and it's like, well, that'd be a perfect chaff unit if you need to, but it's like, well, it's in this situation, it's literally just holding a banner and kind of trying to stay out of trouble, isn't it? So
definitely.
I think that's easier said than done, though. As like a traditional Wood Elf player, I get tempted so often into bad charges. And there'll be a lot of times in this where someone's like, I could just charge these squires with a banner, and they stand and shoot 2 guys down and win in combat res or something. It's just like, well, fuck.
I will just quickly point out, we had clarification from the WSWG boys around the last item here, which was captured banners do not count. Now, I believe at the 2+ event, you guys played it as
a
captured
literal
banners,
interpretation.
Don't add the points, the victory points. But we've had the clarification that it is what they mean is that if you capture someone else's banner, you don't suddenly get an extra banner for having more standard bearers.
Which I actually disagree with. I reckon that would have been a cool thing. Because then it's awesome. Like an incentive to hunt down 12 banners again.
It really could have swung things back and forth, right? If you've got a unit that's gone around and captured 3 or 4 banners, and suddenly that unit becomes a massive target because you got to get those banners back. That could have been a really cool interaction, but I suppose not this time. Not this time. Right. So I think we've established that standard bearers are relatively important. And I think it's time for us to look at a little bit of data. So Paddy, tell us, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so this is all of the 40 lists in one sheet with how many banners they have brought, descending top to bottom. So David brought the most, and he has 12 banners, and his list, like, it's funny. I think 3 out of the top 4 are Bretonnia, which is a faction that obviously lends itself to bringing lots of banners. But when have you ever seen an army with 12 banners in it? Let alone 8.
I got to play Dave's list a couple of weeks ago at Exiles. And I mean, Dave knows exactly what he's done. And he knows exactly what he's doing.
I think it's good.
I played him on Mission 3, and there was just nothing I could do.
You can't be upset with 10 peasants with a banner. Like,
I mean, I can be upset with 10 peasants with a banner, plus his hyper-mobile prophetess, who is insane, absolutely insane in terms of how far she can move with reserve move that she gets from the mounted squires, the mounted yeomen that she gets. So, Dave, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Are you perhaps implying that whoever faces Dave with a prophetess, illusion, is going to have a really tough game?
If it was anyone except for maybe a demon player, with 3 level 4s, 100% that they would have a really hard time. But I feel like demons are like a really suitable.
We'll take the inference.
Anyway, so any other insights from this, Paddy?
Well, just generally, if like the 12 aside, you would be looking at a much higher average count across the entire field, which shows that A, people read the pack, which is awesome. B, the objective-based comp is affecting list building, which is awesome, I think, because I think what we've discussed on the 2+ channel is that hard yes-no comp, like you can bring that, you can't bring that, isn't necessarily the best way. And like Alex has tested it, we've tested it, but this shows that people are trying new things. And I think the ones down the bottom who are sub, I think 5, which I'm 5, feels like not enough anymore, which I thought it was. I feel like it was enough when I built it, but I think
is there a 0 there?
Yeah, Lee.
There is Lee.
It's a Wood Elf player.
Oh, was Lee play Wood Elf? Oh, yeah. I thought he used to be a Beastman player. I thought he'd be all over that. The new release.
Is Lee one of the late ring-ins?
Yeah, I think he's a new guy. Yeah.
Right, okay. Maybe didn't read the back.
Ex-Ninth Age.
Okay.
Lee? It's great. Yeah. He's a nice guy.
He's got great eagles as well.
Which are always nice to see. Any proper Wood Elf player takes great eagles.
And Paul's got Wood Elves as well, right? Is it like a Bretonnian thing to be at the top and Wood Elves to be down the bottom in standard camp?
Well, the other thing is a lot of these Wood Elf players, I think 2 of them are bringing Talson, which is tree-based.
Okay.
So it's like only Glade Guard that can bring banners.
Yeah, and like Wood Elves, you don't often want to be in combat. Like, so what's the point of having a banner? There's not many. There's a couple of magical banners that are good, but otherwise, generally, it's just giving your opponent 50 points when you get killed in combat.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
it does feel. Certainly, a lot of armies. I mean, the Bretonnians are a perfect example of it, but a lot of armies that are capable of bringing very small units that can take a standard bearer for not very many points have done so. And to their credit, that's aligning with the mission pack and that many standards. I mean, Dave with 12 units with standards. I think there's only maybe
if he fucking
3
loses
units.
that last scenario, I tell you what, Dave.
I think there's only
it's surely an auto win.
I think there's only 3 units in there that are actually like combat units, and then everything else is peasants.
Leadership 5 peasants.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, I mean, it could swing against a very mobile opponent who's capable of chasing them down. It could swing against him, but
I'm glad I'm playing him first.
Well, I mean, he's going to end up on the bottom tables because of that. But anyway, so
me.
This I suppose this was the breakdown by faction, Paddy. Is that right?
Yeah, and it kind of just hammers home that point. Bretonnia.
Oh yeah.
Lend them. It's exactly what we were just saying. Essentially, Wood Elves down the bottom, kind of the factions you would expect down the bottom. Maybe not Empire. I would have expected Empire to be higher.
I think for Empire, you still have to take units 10. And that's the thing that I think is quite impactful. Certainly for me, playing Elves, the cheapest unit that I can take is with a banner is maybe just under 100 points, and it's 10. Yeah. It's 10 Elven warriors, not even with thrusting spears. It's just 10 Elven warriors with shields, with light armor and shields that are functionally a total waste of points.
And Empire's infantry sucks probably the most out of everyone. So their only option is really Cav. Yeah. Maybe that's why. I'm impressed by Lizardmen. Is Pete the only Lizardmen player?
I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Because he's brought the Ogre. What are they? The Badlands to pump them up.
So is Josh, I believe. I mean, they're a solid scoring unit for the first mission. Yeah,
definitely.
I've just discovered something absolutely shocking, by the way.
Shock us, Alex.
Peasants are leadership 7.
Oh, no.
How did this is a disgrace.
That's one less than an elf. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
They are very, very brave. Yeah. I suppose you'd have to be to live in this world.
That is shocking. I am shocked. Well done, Alex.
Amazing. All right. So we've spoken missions, we've spoken scoring, we've spoken, I suppose, the way that the lists have been put together. It's time for us to talk about ourselves. Alex, I mentioned this when we were doing the quick run through before this, but given that you are the most whack meta army of the four of us, can you tell us a little bit about your list?
First of all, we should probably point out and congratulate Pete, who is the one person who's managed to do a 40 list review. And so we've gone through and added Peeps vibe comments to all of our army so that we can get a check on how we're going. Pete's probably the loveliest guy in the scene.
Is a beautiful human being.
Lizardman Pete.
He's awesome. Yeah, I played him last one.
I'm yet to play him, but I only hear good things about him. So my army effectively is, well, I thought I was going to be one of many demon players at the event, but Gomo abandoned that idea, it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's effectively what I took to the 2+ warm-up event with a couple of changes, which is a Great Unclean one, level 4, and a Plague Flail. And incredibly, the Great Unclean one has a couple of things going for him that a lot of factions don't. One, he's a combat behemoth and a level 4 wizard. Alcy, don't need to say that, face. Right, we get it. We get what you're trying to say. Weirdly, the Plague Flail is not a magic weapon, so his poison attacks work with the Plague Flail, which is effectively an Ogre Blade. So D3 wounds, strength +2, first round of combat, like a normal flail.
Poison.
And nice. Poison, yeah, it's not a magic weapon. Had to get that double checked.
Yeah.
Yep. But it goes, you know, on the roll to 6, right? But he's tough, he's meaty, he's great if you get Word of Pain, Infernal Gateway, etc. as the spells.
Got like 5 attacks or something.
5 attacks, yep. Nice. D3 +1 stomps. So his combat output, there's definitely better graded demons for like fighting.
Yeah.
But he's really tough.
It's the tough 7 with regen and a 5-up ward that makes a massive difference. And, you know, unbreakable like all other demons. And what has he got? He's got Infernal, whatchamacallit, 2? Infernal Favor 2. So he's got 2 towards his combat res score ultimately at the end anyway.
Yeah, and I feel in the world of 25% characters, you need to bring a greater demon because their leadership bubble as a large target goes to 18 inches, and leadership 9 on demons is essential. On that point, because he's so fat, his base is literally 150 by 100 base,
and he's width wise as well, isn't he?
Width wise, so he's massive. And
so it's the turns.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's long edge first.
Yep. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And awesome. A couple of things there, like if you get teleports, you can block with him, which is great. He doesn't win combats all the time, but you know he can challenge Mark and Nurgle, etc. He's super slow. You know you need to kind of come at him. But my commentary from going to the 2+ event was very much he's toughness 7, but he does take wounds, and I think every game he was at least at 50%. Like, people were still scoring 220 points off of him. So what I've gone for in core, 3 units to 7 plague bearers with standards and musicians. I hope nobody's taken champions on their scoring units, because the standard bearer dies before the champion. Yep.
Shit.
Yeah. Oh, Paddy. In terms of shooting. But it's probably more critical for players like me and Andrew, because we both play unbreakable units. And so if you have an unbreakable unit that's scoring, it's actually difficult to just throw away points. Like, oh yeah, like I'll just force a panic check, and then they're below leadership, and they'll just keep fleeing, because they can't roll a double 1 or something like that. Because they're unbreakable, it's surprisingly difficult to deal with them. Outside of throwing Pegasus Knights, etc. But if you're just going to throw like five kind of squires at them, you're not going to clear the plague bearers. So you got to be dedicated. It has been my experience. Now watch me go into round 1, 2, 3 and get absolutely butchered by those. 15 pink horrors, surprisingly good with Gift of Tzeentch, which is the minus statistics spell. So at the 2+ event, I ran a unit of 9 with no rank bonus, so 2 units of 9. And I was just raw dogging the magic rolls effectively, right? But then I was like, I'll swap a couple of units around. I've made them 15 for a rank bonus of 2. It's slightly better, but my hope for them is to get Steed of Shadows off on them, give them that fly them around so that they can cast Gift of Tzeentch, onto enemy units. And again, toughness 3, but the constant 5-up ward is surprisingly good and annoying once you start stacking on attacks to it. Okay, Alasdair, 2 units of flamers, yes, with level 3 exalted flamers in there, which casts as level 4s. One's got a twin head for 4 spells. I'm really only going for Steed of Shadows and the summoning. Like anything else that I get in there is a bonus there, but like they're the 2 spells. The biggest problem I had at the 2+ warm-up event was miscasting and shutting down my magic phase.
So are they not bound spells? They're actual wizards.
They're actual wizards.
Wizards.
Yeah, they're proper wizards.
So if only someone was bringing Warriors of Chaos with
Infernal Puppet,
that
just do nothing.
that would have been an excellent play. But 0 Warriors of Chaos.
That's shocking.
I suppose the purpose of them, though, right, is summoning first and foremost. You want them. There's still movement 7, even if you don't get Steed of Shadows. But Steed of Shadows is an enabler for them or for your plague bearer units, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But for units, infantry units to fly around the board, etc. So the units of 7 are kind of playing avoidance. But coming back to that point, what I've learned very quickly is even though I've got kind of 7 spells between them, it's like only cast what you need.
Cast 2.
Yeah. Only cast what you need and not anything further, because again, it happened to me versus the warm-up game. Fat Man was sitting there going, he'll get a level 4 Infernal Gateway off easy. And I was like, no, okay, so what I'll do is I'll do one of the demonic spells, Demonic Vigor or something, off the Flamers, miscast, shut down my whole phase, whilst the Great Unclean One was sitting right in front of an Ogre Blade wielding Empire on a Griffin. General on the Griffins. Yeah.
Amazing.
So he cannot get out of there fast. I tell you that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Flamers themselves, the summoning 2d6 strength 4 -1. The Flamers actually are basically a mobile fireball with move and shoot, etc. They can march, but if you march them, you lose the ability to cast summoning.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're doing, right?
It's a nice consolation prize to still get to shoot their attacks, right? So
definitely. Yeah.
And they're skirmish, aren't they?
They're skirmish.
Of course they are.
Yes. So if you want to be real pain in the ass, you can kind of pop the flamer out, I would never do this.
You wouldn't do that.
I would
You
never
wouldn't do
do
that.
this.
No.
Only versus the people on this stream. With a flamer popping out of a forest with two guys behind, so it's hardcover to shoot at them with skirmishers.
Yeah.
You discussed me as a Wood Elf player.
Alex
these
has
are the things you
been-
need to have to play Alasdair, I'm telling you right now.
Alex has been the master of avoidance since his long streak as Wolves of the Sea, learning how to put skin
Avoid a
wolves out of
dragon.
charge arcs the dragons.
Yeah. Now, last few units, 5 Seekers of Slaanesh. I was very skeptical of these. Then your brother Paddy convinced me to give them a go, and he was bang on. They are so fast, like 18 inches. March,
fast cav, so
fast
quick turn,
cav.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but they're skirmishers too.
Oh yeah.
So, and they're just there to be a mobile scoring unit, and if need be, you can put them into open order, into marching column, and they're going 27 inches, which is unmatched in many ways. A Soul Grinder of Slaanesh, which is one of my hammers, if you want to call it that. She gets +1 on her charge and pursuits with Slaanesh. She's not as good as a dragon, but versus medium units, she's very good at going in. Still toughness 6, heavy armor, 5+ ward, D6 +1 stomps at AP -2. Unbreakable again. It's hard to deal with her, but she died. I think she died every game. And then 3 plague drones with a standard.
You call it like a necrosphinx sort of power, so it's good. It's just not. Yeah, it's not taking on the dragon sort of thing.
That's a deeply philosophical question, Andrew, because necrosphinx. We'll see, but that's probably the best comparison, right? In terms of what's there.
Yeah.
So, why demons, Alex?
So. I don't know where it is. I should have brought it here somewhere. I've got the Hordes of Chaos book, and from 6th Ed. I don't know if you've got it too, Andrew. Right? I've said this before. It was like my dream army to have it.
Nice.
And back then, it was demons and mortal chaos in the one. And so I've done the mortal chaos. And then I was going to rotate around. But I was never going to do it without Val Heffelfinger releasing the Renegade pack, because shutting off the 5+ ward is just insane. So
that's really the only hard beneficiary. What
change.
For your list specifically, what are you getting out of Renegades?
Constant 5+ ward. Some
there's some
changes
construction elements, right?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
you can actually take multi.
Well, the flamers, for example, with the Great Unclean one in a traditional demons list would be in rare, and here they're in special because basically in the original demons list everything's in rare and special, and as you unlock the general things come down. But my kind of experience with demons to date has been couple of games online, the 2+ event. So I'm absolutely loving them. Absolutely loving them.
So departing from your list for a second, you've had a look through the 40 lists. Is there someone in particular that you really like the look of, that you've had a look at their list and gone, I would love to play against that, or I love to see that?
It's literally my first round opponent, Dave. So if we just take away the 12 banners, right? Take away the 12 banners. When we were talking about a grudge, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's going to be a Duke, there's going to be this. Now Dave has gone for style points where he's exchanged reliability from a Duke with killing blows and God knows how many attacks and hatred for a prophetess with spectral doppelganger. Oh, I hope spectral doppelganger. I mean, that's the real.
She has a law familiar.
She does
so
have a law
she can
familiar.
choose.
That's what I mean. But if he does, I'm sure he's keeping it. But he's changed that to almost like a spikiness cinematic moment, right? Where he's got to get in, which is relatively easy on his vehicle to get there and his escort. But cast, God knows what can go wrong there, right? Like biblical levels of miscasts or double sixes, followed by how many hits am I going to get? Who knows? Double two, then sixes, then anything can happen in this world. So I think coming back to why I think his list construction is awesome. He's thought about the missions. He's I think guaranteed to win in game 3, but no one can be mad at it because it's a Bretonnian army with peasants. He's not bringing.
He's got Grail Knights.
Yeah,
he's got Grail Knights. How can you be upset with someone who's willing to spend 40 points a model on a 1 wound model?
No one's upset. No one's upset.
No one.
Just charge them straight at my Great Unclean One, Dave.
He's absolutely not going to do that. He's
opens his mouth and they just run in.
But in many ways, the prophetess, whether it's my Great Unclean One, Andrew's general, whatever it is, he goes in. If he doesn't kill,
if something doesn't connect,
he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
He's got a 5-up ward. The lady's protecting him.
It is very cinematic. It is really truly cinematic.
So it's no salt. I'm trying to manifest the miscast as much as I can, which means it's going to be a double 6 or worse. You miscast and it turns into
it turns into the irresistible. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew, you're up next. Tell us a little bit about your list.
Here we go. All right. Well, I was thinking before I even get into it, because Paddy had his U-View statistics, but he didn't have the charm shields per army. Because I think I would have taken that out. Definitely. So anyway, I'll go into. I'll try and remember this. So yeah, it's vampires. If anybody can't work that out by looking on the screen right now, vampire counts. So I'll go into after what the theme was behind this, but I was chasing something quite fast. I just like fast lists. I do like the moves, so that's why I went for this. But I went. For my general is the Ghoul King. Pretty typical loadout. So he's on a Terrorgeist. I just went for Wizard level 1 only because I need to take a Wizard. This is I can't raise anything in this list. So this guy can bring a wound back. But yeah, once it's dead, it's dead. So
yeah, is it D3 plus 1?
For wounds back?
For wounds back.
No. Oh, for me, it's just 1.
Oh, for himself, just 1.
If I kill something, I got to roll a D6, and I think
Oh, he's got Blood Drinker, does he?
Yeah. That's the only way I can really get wounds back. It's got a battle magic. Is it lizard? I was wizard level 1, so I'm I don't even know what I'm going to do here. I'll probably just take. I don't think I'm going to get anything off, but I just took battle magic just in case I wanted Hammerhand. But the other way, I'll probably just get Hellish Vigor for most sort of games. And then I've only got 75 points to spend, so I just threw the Ogre Blade on him because I figured, for this event, you're going to see either people going a watered down Lord and a watered down Wizard, or just Magic Heavy or a big guy. Just the way I wanted to play, I just thought, I'll just throw a bigger guy in there that's not taking the piss too much. Yeah, he's got an Ogre Blade, I know, but he's very killable. I've taken this guy before, and he definitely dies.
He's certainly not among the really obnoxious flying behemoths.
No.
He's certainly not.
Nah, he's not. He's not the worst out there. I know people say, "Oh, he's got a scream," but I haven't had a whole lot of success out of the scream, to be honest. But we'll see how we go. I threw in a White Lord. With his Charm Shield, Skeletal Steed, and Lance. So I'm just laughing at all my Charm Shields. So I only bought him to give me Black Knights in core. I was planning to make him a BSB to give me an extra banner, but I don't know, that fell off the radar somewhere because he was a BSB, and then for some reason now he's not. So
submitted the wrong list.
A way to make something else happen, and obviously, Anyway, so I'm down. He was meant to be a BSB, but he's not. So I'm running a big giant block of Black Knights. So, well, not that giant, but 9. So they've got the standard Lance Barding champ with the Charm Shield, standard bearer with the standard of Hellish Vigor.
What does that do?
Reserve move.
Mm.
I've got a bit of a marching issue with this army, which is I'll discuss that later. But on top of that, I went for 2 units of 10 Crypt Ghouls because they get reserve move as well, so they don't need to march as such. But they were going to be, as you guys know, hopefully taking a couple of buildings or the watchtowers. I got 2 units of Dire Wolves. I just wanted something fast, and they also have reserve move, so I didn't have to worry about a march bubble. That's sort of the issue you've got with Vamps, because if you don't take a decent wizard who has can do. Is it Hellish Figure, I think? Yeah, the march, the reserve move.
Because you can't march normally, right?
Not unless you're a flyer or you've got the, I think it's Dark Vitality.
Or you're a vampire.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, so I went 2 units of Black Knights, full commands, both with Charm Shields. Another Terrorgeist. I went a Black Coach because for me, I just wanted something a little bit
awesome.
Fluffy and fun, and people have been taking them, and I'm like, I don't know why they're taking them because I don't really like it that much, but I'm like, I'm just going to try it out.
Does it have fly, Paddy?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
Is it
fly ethereal impact hits D6 +2, and
it's for stride or not?
6.
No.
Stride, no.
No, I think it's a standard chariot that way, except for the fly and the ethereal. I feel like ethereal, there's so few units with it that when they pop up, they make a real difference. No one's building magic weapon armies, right?
Yeah. Well, the only thing that's going to save it against magic missiles, really, just because it is ethereal, is because I think it's toughness 6 or something like that.
Yeah, but that's huge, right?
But you lose the ethereal when you go into combat, unless so you get the impact hits, or you get the fly and the ethereal. So
I see.
You can travel around fast with ethereal, but then you lose that, and then you get your impact hits back.
Oh, that's right. You have to pick.
Every turn, you pick what you want out of the turn.
Right. Okay.
And without the impact hits, it's got like 2 horses, and the guy on top's pretty average.
So you lose fly, so you can't fly in impact hits.
No.
So at the start of your phase, you'll say, I'm now.
Oh, that's a shame.
I'm no longer ethereal. So
I think the way it's used in like hard competitive lists, it's got Indomitable 1. It's got close order. So if you get a rear or a flank charge off, you get a standard and it has first charge also. Yeah. Okay. So it's just an ethereal fly bomb that can tarp hit something, and the impact hits are a bonus when you're like, oh shit, this guy's out of position. I can just double charge with D6 +2 impact hits.
I suppose you can fly, into like a park right next to them. And I just looked at it. Move 8's pretty solid.
Yeah. Swiss Stride would be awesome, but obviously heavy chariot. But you just got to pick your battles. Like, it's not something you're going to throw into a unit with a lot of combat res because it's just going to pop.
So, reserve move, I've never actually seen it in play.
You will.
So you can. So if you have Hellish Vigor, you can march, right? Is that what we're saying?
I think you get reserve move.
Reserve move is Hellish Vigor. So that's just move and move. You can't march and march.
Yeah, right. But you move your standard distance, and then the end of the shooting phase, irrelevant of not having a shooting weapon, because I think the wording is just the end of the shooting phase. Yeah. You then move again. Does that mean that a unit that has reserve move that marched,
if you march, you can't reserve move.
Yeah. Okay.
But my understanding is you can still get if they do have the free
quick turn or whatever.
You can still do that.
I think so.
It's kind of cool, I suppose, in a sense. But it does. It's the only way to get across the board. So if you don't have infantry, if you have infantry or stuff like that, usually you need to build heavy into that. How am I going to move? It's no longer like the old days where it was like within the general's command range. So it does make it a little bit more difficult to get around with certain armies. And the last is my 3 Vargos with Champ.
So good.
Yeah, I do like these guys. They are frenzied, which I don't mind taking a frenzy. Like, people don't like frenzy, and they're like, oh, you get sort of, people bait you around and you get kited. But I haven't actually experienced that.
The Vargeists fly with Swiss Stride, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very hard to bait a unit with fly and Swiss Stride.
Yeah, exactly.
Successfully,
Yeah. If you're infantry, that's completely different.
Yeah.
I was going to charge you anyway.
Setting my list up for next, but no, I love the Vargeist. They're such a they are one of those really iconic units to vampire counts that I don't think they get the love that they deserve. But why specifically did you choose them?
There, so yeah, I think that's the other. Yeah, I find them all right, and they're only toughness 4. I think they got like a 6-up regen, so they can die to bow fire pretty quick as well.
Sure.
And obviously magic missiles are just gonna tear them apart.
Yeah. That's everything, right?
Well,
in this edition.
And there's a lot of magic missiles around at the moment, so we'll see how it goes. The reason why I chose faction is it's like my second faction I've got, but I always love vampires, just in fantasy and just in movies and whatnot. Like it
was my very first army.
Yeah,
the old monopose skeletons and endless amounts of zombies that you had no idea how to raise them as a 12-year-old kid. You just kind of, I'm sure, like, cheated. And, remember the old, like, conversions where you just get, like, a head and you put it on a base? Oh, that's a zombie.
Oh, I've got plenty of them in my pile of zombies. I got this big box of zombies and I just got, like, a hand coming out of the ground or something.
Classic.
So... Andrew, has Renegades materially changed the construction of vampire counts to a point that you've built it differently because of Renegades?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
No, it hasn't changed a lot. It's just sort of like kind of buffed, like the vampire was a little bit weaker with some things like leadership and
you can't scream out of combat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, that as well. You can only scream into your combat, which I think is definitely. It's good.
It's fun.
Needed changing. The screens needed changing 100%. And I think that's a half decent sort of way to rectify the issues with it. But yeah, so how much experience have I had? Funnily enough, I just got a message about 10 minutes into this saying my game for tomorrow's cancelled.
Oh no.
My game before that with this list was cancelled.
Oh no.
So I've had 0 games with this list.
Oh, no.
Yes.
I played Vamps a bit, but the problem I've got, if I don't play them a couple of times, you just forget things too much. And I'm all about like little takebacks, like, if you forget something in the command phase and, you're in your movement phase or it's just something that's not going to change, that's fine for me.
Yeah.
If it's like the next turn and you're like, oh no, I forgot that big thing, like just those big rules. Sometimes you
be reasonable.
Yeah. So that's what
we're all about reasonableness.
That's what I like trying out. Get some practice in it. Just warms you up for the special rules.
Now, Andrew, the base of your bottle, talk us through that.
Yeah. Okay. So I've already got another Terrorgeist, and the problem I've got, I think, with Terrorgeist and another Terrorgeist is like they do that such a big model, but they're identical, and I don't like the look of it so much. And I don't do it all the time, but I thought, this time I had this Terrorgeist. For some reason, I couldn't find his legs, and I had some Tyrannid giant legs from a monster. Actually, I think there might have been wings. No, they were wings. That's right.
Amazing.
I still got the bits of the wings. These big giant wings, and actually
Tyrannid warrior wings or something.
Yeah. I could find them, but anyway. So I ended up clipping these big wings off, and then like using almost the stump of the wing. As his legs, so they're now his legs, and he's kind of climbing up. But
I love it.
somehow it kind of works. And yeah, he's climbing up this bit of ruins, so I thought it was all right. It was like, oh, I'll just throw some stuff.
Looks
on.
great.
I love the detail that you've thrown on there. I love the spirit coming swooping out of the front of it as well. Like it's so thematic.
Yeah, I was really disappointed with that spirit because
I hate it.
no. I've got all these spirit hosts that I've done up, and I like the way they're painted, and I've tried to recreate it, and I've butchered it. Like it's
Well, the photo looks beautiful, Andrew.
yeah.
Just get Gomo to print you a whole bunch of 3D sculpted spirit hosts.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. You could just like throw them around.
Amazing.
But no. It looks all right. I think so.
It looks great.
Yeah.
So, same question for you, Andrew. Is there another list, someone else's list that you've looked through that you've gone, wow, I really like that. I'd love to play it, or you'd love to see it in action?
I might rock the boat. Not in a bad way. I don't want to sound arrogant. I just wanted to play Acta's list because I just wanted to see what it could do. I know these big giant blocks are like, it's not very thematic, and it's sort of like this big giant block. But I want to see how it went against like knights and things. I'm like, oh, it's kind of like one of these lists. I think like it does quite well, like extremely well against certain matchups. Like it would eat this like my general. But I haven't played a list like that, and I just want to almost to see just get destroyed by it, and then be like, oh, because you only learn when you get your ass kicked. If you don't get your ass kicked, or if you don't get schooled by somebody, to me, you play the same a bit. So sometimes it's good to have a good butt kicking, and it sort of resets you a bit. If you know what I mean?
Simon got the grudge before you did. Is that what you're saying?
Nah, well, I don't know if I would have grudged him because I'm a coward, but
Now, we probably should point out very quickly to those, Andrew, I guess everyone listening to this is probably from going to Oldhammer. do you know what I mean? But we're talking about 84 skeletons, Tomb King list, very unkillable block. But public service announcement, due to some hobby restrictions applied by the Oldhammer crew, Acta has had to resubmit his list, or was offered a resubmit, and has taken it up. So is now playing Vampire Count. So everybody can go have a quick look at what he's switched to, if you so wish. And we have a couple of new additions as well. We had a few people drop out. 2 new Wood Elf players, I think, have entered, as we kind of indicated before, that now make them the most popular faction around. Soon to lose poison shots, of course.
Fingers crossed.
yeah.
Anyway, fabulous. Thank you, Andrew.
No, thank you.
I think it's me next. So, unlike Alex, I've gone in the totally opposite direction in terms of list building, because I very much approached this one after my comments on a previous podcast. I very much approached this Oldhammer going, you know what, I do want to play the army that I want to play, and frankly, damn the objectives. I have 5 standards, but 3 of those standards are in my big combat blocks. And 2 of them are on 100-point cavalry units, which are going to be shot off the table at the first opportunity. But the centerpiece of my list, Kane approved, is very much my Witch Elves. So Renegades has changed Dark Elves significantly in terms of how the dragged along rule works. So much like 8th edition, you can now embed your Cauldron of Blood within the Witch Elf unit, which was something that Games Workshop stripped away from the Dark Elves Legacy faction. And so when Renegades was announced, I sort of looked at this and thought, you know what, it's time to bring the ladies out. They've been sitting in the box for too long. They rarely get a game these days with my pivot to Empire. But I thought, what better opportunity to sort of bring one of the most iconic 8th Ed units and frankly, something that just looks like I've got them here, and I haven't put them away, just because it looks
Do not drop them on
so
stream.
amazing. It looks so good that I just haven't put them away. Even with my kids around, I've been putting them up high on a shelf just so that my kids can't get to them. But I just don't want to put it away. It looks great. But anyway, my list. I've got a level 4 sorceress with 5 spells, who's my general. She's taking battle magic. I have the majority of my points and characters going towards my Death Hag. So it is a Death Hag mounted on a Cauldron of Blood, which makes her around 250-ish points. And then I've stuck an Ogre Blade on her just for giggles. So she is the epitome of a glass cannon unit. It is 300 points with a very dubious ward save. Has a 4+ armor save because of the cauldron, thankfully. But if the rest of the unit dies, she's movement 2. She's not going anywhere.
Okay.
So she needs the unit to carry her around. If the unit dies, then she could sort of sit next to one of my other infantry units, which can help her move around. But she's there. She's iconic. She's gonna have a good time. Hopefully, if I come up against a few armies who are willing to fight her. But that's my characters. My core is the big unit of Witch Elves. They have an armor-piercing banner, which is very helpful. I have the 2 units of Dark Riders, who are frankly just there for scoring. One of them is Scouts, to give me the ability to place them preemptively in front of the witches if I feel like I'm going to be frenzy baited. Following that, I have a block of Harganeth Executioners. My list is very much Harganeth themed. It's all about the blood, the cane, the wonderful, delicious murder that Dark Elves do so well. So I've got a big block of Harganeth Executioners. They're a bit of a glass cannon themselves as well. They are strength 4 with what's effectively a great weapon and the watered down cleaving blow, which is not quite killing blow. But they're a great unit. They're weapon skill 5. They go up to initiative 6 when they're charged. They're really fabulous. On top of that, I have a nice big block of Cold One Knights. A little bit of zoning, but obviously Cold One Knights are among the best elite cavalry in the game. So I've got them with a Ruby Ring of Ruin to clean up some chaff units, clear the way potentially for the witches, support them in terms of combats. And then I've got 1 unit of Warlocks. Doomfire Warlocks, there for their 1 token spell, which they can choose, unlike Sisters of the Thorn. But that choice, as Alex, I'll be a little bit more frank than Alex hiding away his spell choices. That choice is very likely going to be Steed of Shadows. And if I don't get 1 game where in turn 1 I get to fly those Witch Elves up the board with a Steed of Shadows followed by an Arcane Urgency and fly them 48 inches in 1 turn, I'm going to be really upset. It's going to happen in 1 game. I've got 3 opportunities to do it. It's going to happen
against Josh. His level 1 Moonsmith dispelled like 7 spells in a row for my level 4.
The beauty is that I don't have to be anywhere near him when I cast. So my sorceress, one of the other, I know, well, that's probably it, right? So one of the wonderful things about Dark Elves is the Focus Familiar, which is basically you place like a token within 12 inches of the sorceress, and you can treat that for measuring ranges of your casts. Now, when your opponent goes to dispel, they're still measuring from your wizard and not from the Focus Familiar. So it gives you 12 additional inches of range. That might let me put a Pillar of Fire directly in front of someone's list turn 1. It might help me cast Arcane Urgency.
That's 1 use only, right?
It is 1 use only.
Yeah.
They're 10 points a pop, 1 use only. But extremely common. So if you were so inclined, you could just pump a few of them in, but I'm not. I have 1. But anyway, that's the plan. I got 3 big combat units. I'm hoping I can make it into some combats. The Wood Elves being the most common faction does not give me a huge amount of hope because, of course, everyone knows
they'll be charging you.
I mean, maybe Towson is the way to go, and we can have some proper combats. But we'll see how we go. As I said, I chose Dark Elves because of Renegades. I really rarely get to play the Witch Elves in the way that they were intended when the re-release happened in 8th ed and the rules changed, and that was when I got the Witch Elves and when I really sort of had a lot of fun with them at that point. But
the murderous change is huge as well, right?
it's massive for the Witch Elves and the
Witch Elves
Hageneth
and
Executioners.
Yeah, that's massive. That's such a huge boost to already okay units. There was nothing.
The Executioners against anything toughness 4 or below, they're wounding on 2s, rerolling 1s, which is massive.
Massive.
And cleaving blow is good in this setup, right? Because everyone's got more infantry and cavalry.
Yeah, I think so. And I suppose it can't be discounted. The Cauldron of Blood itself has a bound spell that goes up to power level 3 with Renegades, which is very helpful. But the spell is either it gives the unit that the Cauldron is in, or rather any of the appropriate units, because it's limited in terms of what gets it, but any of the appropriate units are 5+ ward save. That's one of them. Another one is it gives them Furious Charge, and then the third one is it gives the unit Cleaving Blow. So if hypothetically I find myself in a situation about to charge with the Witch Elves, and even in that formation that I've got them in the picture, what you've got is 18 Witch Elf attacks just from that front row. Plus the Death Hag's 5 to 7 attacks on top of that, and putting Cleaving Blow on top of those. They have an AP banner, but going up against something with a 3+ armor save, an infantry unit with a 3+ armor save, and getting Cleaving Blows on the re-rolling 1s to wound Witch Elf attacks, it makes a substantial difference. So yeah. That's the list in a nutshell. Dark Elves are my baby. Speaking of old army books, I've got my 7th ed army book here that I was looking through a little bit earlier today. In terms of my experience with it, I've had a handful of games with the Witches and learned some very valuable lessons. Lovely. I've learned some very valuable lessons about how wide they should be. I ran them 10 models across, and 10 models across, unfortunately, leaves them a little vulnerable and means that the Death Hag doesn't always make it into combat. Which, frankly, and again, Pete sort of learned this. They chewed through 2 of his monsters, 2 of his Lizardmen monsters, without even needing the Death Hag, just off the Witch Elves themselves. I'm looking forward to a couple of games. My first game is against Josh Phillips, Josh Nakamura, who's bringing dwarves, and we've sort of had a gentleman's agreement around we're just going to run big combat blocks at each other. And I'm quite looking forward to seeing how the Death Hag goes against the King, the multi-wound immune to wounds King. I don't know.
Absolutely destroy you.
It depends. If I roll high, if he rolls high, it totally depends.
He has hatred and multi-wound.
She has hatred built in. She can't use her multi-wounds, but she stands a very good chance with impact hits. But anyway.
Very true.
So that's it in terms of who I'm excited to see, or who I was most excited to sort of see from a list construction standpoint. I think Matthew Chung. He's an Empire player, and he has wholeheartedly leaned into the mercenary theme, and I love it so much.
How much is that costing, Paddy? Did you work it out?
I didn't work it out. I just think it's 1,500 plus if it's GW for sure.
Oh, the models themselves. If he's got GW models, I will shake him by the hand and
it feels
wish
like
him
a
all the
GW
best.
army. Yeah.
But General Hans von Lohenhach, the mercenary general that Empire got out of the Arcane Journal, great to see him be played. I think he's got a big block of Tutogen Guard, so he's got a Chapter Master. An unaffiliated Chapter Master, I will point out. I don't think he's given him a knightly order, but he's then got a Priest of Ulrich to go with the Tutogen Guard. The general will probably be in there. He's got a couple of big units of cavalry knights, and then he's capped it all off with a steam tank, road wardens, outriders, and a big unit of ogres, so 4 Imperial ogres with 2 light cannons. 2 light cannons, and 8 Imperial Dwarf mercenaries with handguns. I pay my respects to it. It's a great thematic variation of Grand Army Empire, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what models he brings along and see how much money he spent on putting that army together.
A lot of pressure on the poor guy now.
I know, yeah.
That's what we do here, Andrew.
Throw together all this random stuff, and then everyone's like, ugh.
You talk
Not at
everyone else up and yourself down.
That's
correct.
That's the game.
technique.
Regardless, Matthew, if you end up watching this, regardless of your army, it's going to be a pleasure to see you and a pleasure to watch you play. Last but certainly not least, these are some really weird looking wood elves, Paddy.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be my first 2,000 point game with my new Orcs, which Alex printed for me, thankfully. How long ago was that? 6 months ago, maybe. I've added a few pieces then, but have been trying to get to 2,000 points painted for a long time. But as most people would know, hobby time is pretty hard to come by, and I probably do it enough anyway. But the first picture you can see there is the Arachnarok spider, which I picked up recently at a pretty good price, and that was as well as the mission pack. That model was like, nah, Grand Army, that's it, let's do it. I really wanted to paint it, and it's an absolute piece of crap. 310 points for toughness 5 and 4+ armor save. And no AP, which I'm really looking forward to. But it's going to be a lot of fun, definitely. Orcs and Goblins in this setting have a rare advantage that a lot of, like in this comp pack, where they can bring a ridden monster fighty guy and a level 4 and be under 500 points, which is a huge deal, I think. I've kind of misplayed my level 4, so I've got a Wyvern on a Black Orc, War Boss on a Wyvern with Trollhide trousers, and then a level 4 Night Goblin with Lore Familiar and Illusion. One of the other stats I was trying to find, I could have found, was the Dragon v level 4 focus in this tournament, and it's like 95% level 4s was the focus, I'd say. I think there's 1 or maybe 2 dragons, like full-fledged dragons.
I believe there are 2.
2, and there's a
Scott
few.
Norwood has one of the Dark Elf dragons, the defensive Dark Elf dragons. I feel like there's one more.
I think there's a handful of like the second tier, Wyvern, maybe a Manticore out there.
There are a couple of Manticores,
Terrorgeist.
Second tier. Oh.
So I
Okay.
Talk yourself down.
Right, come on, Wyvern, Terrorgeist.
Yeah.
But I was expecting more monsters, which is why I went Illusion instead of War Magic, because I wanted to Miasmic Mirage and Crystal Columns. And stuff. But
still be good.
Yeah, it's still a good lore. I've got 10 Black Orcs for the tower capturing. I've got 30 Night Goblins with thrusting spears, and 3 Fanatics and the big red Raggedy Flag. 5 Goblin Wolf Riders for a scoring piece, 12 Boar Boys, Biggins, Banner of Butchery. So they're also generally wounding on 2s, re-rolling 1s, but weapon skill 3, so usually hitting on 4s, which is an interesting one with the Thinking Orcs hat as well to stop Impetuous. Then I have a Goblin Wolf Chariot with the 3rd Giant Wolf, because the one that Alex printed for me has 3 wolves. And it actually needs a different base size as well, which I didn't realize until later, but that's now in play. And that you can take a banner on that as well, which Impetuous is probably going to kill it anyway, but I could just hide it. It's movement 9. So is relatively maneuverable. An Orc Boar Chariot that's frenzied with an extra dude on top, and then the Arachnarok Spider and 2 Doom Diver Catapults.
Paddy, Arachnaroks are tough to 6.
Oh, they strength 5.
Strength 5.
Strength 5, sorry. Yeah.
There's something alarming. This has to be wrong. Do they not have like an AP2 combat weapon, Paddy?
No, they only have that one Venom Surge thing, which is actually awesome.
It's awesome,
but no, yeah, it's cooked, and it's 310 points.
Not even AP1, like the massive legs are not.
Yeah, that thing is the same strength as a hand weapon, like the same AP as a hand weapon held by a Noblar.
Well, What have they got in the blurb for like the weapon?
It's
a
just
hand weapon.
it's
a
like
hand weapon.
claws and fangs or something.
Yeah,
Probably.
so it's called poisonous fangs, and it says brackets counts as a hand
It's a big
weapon.
daddy
yeah.
long legs. It's not a.
Like the
It's gonna-
poisoned attacks are nice, but when you're coming up against other monsters, particularly dragons, it's
Yeah,
not going to
okay.
do anything.
We're in
But-
such shock because we've never seen it. I thought it was going to be
Yeah.
like full Sheila, but like
yeah,
coming in.
it's not. It's not. It is.
Belly.
The Swift Stride is nice.
It's got
Yeah.
poison attacks.
It is Swift Stride, which is fabulous.
Swift
And
Stride,
movement 7 Swift Stride.
Immune to psychology, which is kind of a bait, unfortunately,
Stubborn.
because stubborn's great, and it has 7 wounds, so it will
And D6
likely
stops, but yeah.
survive one round of combat. But
Yeah, 4+
Oh.
arms.
4+ armor save is rough. But it's a sick ass model. So that's kind of the phase I'm in at the moment. I played for a year now, pretty much, Wood Elves that was close to meta Wood Elves. And Alasdair will attest to, it's not the most engaging list to play. So I was really looking for something that runs at people. And this is what this list does.
It has 8 goblin crew.
Yes, and critically, they have cavalry spears.
Dang,
So there's
with
your
poison.
AP.
There's my AP.
What are you
right?
worrying about?
There's your
It's
eight
got-
strength
it's
four.
got- It's got 8 2-point goblins to
Yeah.
keep
Yeah,
you strength 4 AP 1
So
attacks.
the thing that I think is probably underrated with it is when it gets charged, stand and shoot with 8 poison shots, and then
Oh, yeah.
8 poison attacks in combat. They won't have, but none of them have AP. So it's just this whole AP issue.
But they're quick shot. They're quick shot bows as well.
Yeah.
So no penalties.
Yeah,
And the fangs strike first. That's okay. At least that's
Yeah.
AP2, but still, it's like
any poison attack with AP, I think, is awesome. Like Sisters of the Thorn have AP1 on their ranged attack, and when you spike that 6 and there's AP on it, people are like, oh wait, what? Isn't it just poison? It's
multiple wounds D6, Paddy.
Yeah, I know. I've been testing a whole lot of stuff because I'm playing Gomo, so I'm having a good old fashioned pod off. Andrew's playing Alex. I'm playing Gomo, and
Did
it'll
someone
be
clip the point where Paddy actually said in the stream,
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to my first
Yeah.
game against Tomb Kings?
Yeah, it was John. John was watching, and he just tweaked it. I know it. Because I like
What a
Gomo's got
matchup. Who would have thought?
2 Necros, 2 Tomb Scorpions, 40 poison shots, 8 levels of magic, a casket, and a Screaming Skull catapult. So
Good luck with that.
hey. But the matchup that I'm really interested in is the Spider v the Necro, because there's just these spike variances where if I roll the poison, it goes through his initial armor, so I will get D6 combat res. He has Indomitable
Strike
Tube.
first. Imagine you did
Strike
6
first.
wounds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then he has Monster
Decapitating
Monster
strike.
Blow.
Monster
Yeah,
Slayer
yeah,
on
yeah.
one attack that
Yeah.
strikes last. So this is, as I said, the kind of era I'm in though, where I'm just all about the moments at the moment, and this list, to me, leans into it a lot.
For
Now,
sure.
Paddy, your ball boys, so you've got Biggins, which is, I think, +1 strength constantly, right? In combat.
On the charge.
I think
As
it might
said,
only be on the charge. Yeah.
This is my first.
I think that's choppers.
I'll look it up.
There's
check it.
Tusker.
They
There's
might be,
Tusker
yeah.
charge, which does something for the boars.
+1
There's
on the charge. Biggins is when engaged in combat. Yeah, when engaged in combat, always.
Okay, so
And they
always.
get armor bane 1 and +1 strength.
So
Yeah.
they're strength 4 base, so they go to 5. Cavalry spears 6.
No, the strength 3 base. Yeah,
yeah, because they're just orcs.
yeah.
Ball boys. Okay.
So they go to 4
Hero
with
was thinking that'd be
Biggins.
strength 7 with your banner.
No, they're strength 6 with the banner on the charge, but they essentially have lances with
Alright.
choppers giving AP1.
Yeah,
Biggins
yeah,
But
giving
the
armor
boar
bane 1.
itself,
And they
so
have-
you were saying, the impact hit from the boar is... Or
That's
is it
only-
the attacks gets extra AP?
Attacks. Impacted is only nomadic war.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
But the boars go up to strength 4 base and then strength 5 on the charge.
Yeah. Which is
So-
solid, right?
It's
From a
fine.
standard cavalry. Yeah.
Yeah, I got 12 of them. I haven't run it 12 deep yet. There's a lot of things I haven't played. So I've played a 1,000 point game of Nomadic War and a 1250 point game of Nomadic War. I think I've played 2 of the units in this list in not a 2,000 point setting. So
Yeah.
the whole day is going to be a massive learning curve for me.
Sure.
Which is fun. That's how I learn generally, as we say. But if I can go, going into any tournament, I want to go 2-1.
Yep.
1-2 with this, for me, I don't think I'd consider a fail, but I'd still want to go 2-1. I just want to win more than I lose, essentially.
How many units in the first mission does Gomo have to score a tower? Because
Sharpty and his mages.
So you both have low scoring units, so it's going to be a proper bash, like bashing each other.
Yeah, and I've only got 5 banners, and 2 of them are on goblins. They're going to die.
But irrelevant
like,
mission
3
one,
of them.
right?
Yeah, but for the whole day, like my intention the whole game is to run at stuff and just roll dice and learn the rules of this
but the
army.
goblins have impetuous.
Yeah, not the night goblins, but the
wolf riders.
Yeah. So
have you got a counter to the casket? The casket's scary.
The spider Andrew, he's just going to run the Iraqi straight at it.
Do you guys know? Have you ever seen what the casket's magic missile is?
Yeah, it's atrocious.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
36 inches, strength 6, multiple
always
wounds 2,
been
no
good.
armor saves. To cast on a 7.
I know. Look, to be fair, it's always been good. Like, like any edition. Well, actually, I can't speak about 8th edition, but like I remember 6th, it used to be insane. 7th, it was reasonable.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's one of its things. But
look, there's a lot of magic coming my way in that first matchup. But hey, whatever. Let him roll dice. Hopefully he miscasts and I get away with it. But yeah, that's my list. But the one I'm really keen to see as a Wood Elf boy is Paul's Towson list, because this is like, and it looks, from the photos I've seen, they kind of look like he's done like a white themed tree, right? Like ashy kind of ghost like almost. But he's got ambushing tree men, baby, and it is awesome.
So good.
Has he still got Orion in the list?
No, he's got but he has got a level 2 and that can go in a tree unit, because he's got that what's it called, the
glamour
glamour weave one.
Yeah,
but he's
so
raw
it gives
dogging
him the tree spirit rule, whatever.
Yeah, and a 5-up
forest
ward.
spirit.
But
I'd love 2 tree men with ambushes.
Yeah, 9 treekin. Like, get out of town. That is amazing. Ambushing dryads. Only 2 units of ambushing dryads. Yeah.
Well, he went 2-1 at the warm up event. I think literally because people were like, "Oh yeah, tree men look shit," type thing, and then suddenly they're like, "Nah, whoa."
Tree men are shit, though. To be honest, they're shit.
Orion was there with his nipples out, like like kind of being like, "Charge me." And I think that was his main thing. I hate frenzy. Like,
yeah, it's fun.
Amazing.
Big ups to Paul for that one for sure.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Well, to wrap us up, we've been at it for a little while, so let's just go round the table, I suppose. Just what are you feeling? What's your most exciting thought about the weekend? What are you most looking forward to? And given that, Paddy, we made you wait all that time to talk about your army, we'll go with you first.
Sure. I reckon what you've got there, the Australia's New Standard, Oldhammer for us. So this is my 4th one. Were you guys at the first one?
Yeah.
You were both at the first one?
Yeah.
So that's 5.
It's where my hatred of Wood Elves started, Paddy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, how could I forget? The real Paddy stood up there. But this tournament has grown, like, it's doubled in size more than in a year, essentially. And the guys who run it are incredible. I know we bang on about this, but Alex and I, brother Alex, talk about this a lot, is that they have set a new standard here. And you can kind of see it in the old, we like to call it old guard, no offense to the old guard, but the hangovers of 7th and 8th tournament organizers that aren't growing like this one did. And I think that tells you something. And we always fanboy them and everything every time this comes around. But
there's a reason.
Yeah, there's a reason. It's incredible terrain. They're really great people, and they have the best intentions with Warhammer. Like, it's not. We're seeing a bit more of the top end competitive list cut through into it this time because it's gaining traction, I think. But it's their philosophy is not that, and if they maintain that, then it's going to be hard to not want to go every time.
Definitely. Andrew, is this your first Oldhammer?
No, this is 3rd.
You weren't at that one, Alasdair. That was the one. The first one you went at, Alasdair.
Right. Okay.
That was the one you missed.
That makes sense. So what's your general feeling going into the weekend, Andrew?
Well, coming from Newcastle, which is 2 hours away for those who are geographically, I suppose, familiar, it's really good seeing Sydney because coming from previous editions that I've played, Newcastle had quite a healthy scene and Sydney was very fragmented. And I believe with social media and the way that obviously the Sydney scene has been sort of, I don't know, growing and promoting, I would rival Sydney over probably Victoria and Queensland, and they're both. Queensland's got a very healthy scene, and Victoria seems like they're trying to grow, and they seem like they've got a decent scene. But I don't know, just Western Sydney's just. You could do these every 2 months if you really wanted to, and I think you'd still get the numbers. And I think you're just going to be turning people away soon. Like it's almost going to be a point of like you're going to be selling tickets. It's like, oh crap, got to get in there, and
it's already there, Andrew.
It is.
It filled less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
Less, probably at 2 hours.
Yeah.
It was absolutely nuts.
When it comes out, we're literally messaging each other, being like, "Quick!"
No, it's great, and the vibes, it's a long conversation. I know, like Alasdair, like you were talking about last time, you're always going to have that, comp verse, sort of fun fluff, and it is hard to please everybody, and there's so many different people. For big events, it's going to be really hard, I think, to get everybody that's going to 100% love the players pack. But what they've done, I think it's pretty good. And as long as they sort of like they do, it would be nice. I still do think that if you do have those, like I know actors, like he's put his list in whatnot. I'm not going to say anything about it, but like, to me, it was an outlying list. It was above what everybody else had put in a power level. And it was good that they sort of had a discussion and said, like, I think this is outside of the scope of what this tournament's trying to do, which is good.
I feel just on that, one of the most important bits to take away is the values that the WSWG guys have put in place around wanting to see the tables truly represent the hobby, and that from what we understand, a lot of the consideration around Actors List was, will it on the table represent the army that it's supposed to? And I think the consideration was maybe not, with some of the things that he shared already. And I think props to the guys, to the Oldhammer guys, for setting I suppose a standard and holding us all to it. We've seen in previous Oldhammers people come up in terms of points and then not get the win because they've held to, painted armies only can achieve the victories. And I think it's a sort of an important step to have taken to say, when it comes to the types of games that we want to see, when it comes to armies and how they're presented, that there's a standard that they want to see, and they're sort of holding to that set of values. And I think that's quite an important thing to call out.
Standards very much the theme of this tournament.
Standards. Love your work, Paddy.
Tell Rupert.
Alex.
I think as a quick point on that, as a 3D printer, who, by definition has a proxy army, I always try my best to check in with the guys to say, does this represent what at an immediate glance, right? Like, a Great Unclean one, the model I've got is, it's pretty apparent. Like, there's a Great Unclean one, right? Yeah, but there are some to steal some language from your brother Paddy, some rather abstract
Loves that word, doesn't he?
sculpts out there for certain things. So it's always good. And I think the general guidance I would always give to people coming to Oldhammer is, if you are 3D printed, try to keep things to a singular range as much as you can. So everything like having a hodgepodge sometimes is inevitable because of literally, like, a designer may not have the specific models, but the scale needs to be go. And as a 3D printer, you need to go to that effort of making sure things are the same scale, right? It's not up to the tournament organizers or your opponents to go, oh, that one model looks like a dwarf versus the guy that's as big as an ogre, but like, etc. You have the onus on you to make sure that everything is the right scale, within reason, right? Like, I print some of my warriors a bit larger so they look like more like Age of Sigmar Chaos Warrior size versus traditional ones, which is fine. But the spirit of getting into the scene and going for it. And actually, just to touch on one last thing for actors, I think thankfully for him, he posted that photo, because turning up on the day, irrelevant of what his intentions are to bring a list, etc., turning up on the day and being told, hey mate, you're not allowed to place, win, get ranking points from having your army like that, is not good for him either. So I'm not saying everyone should be bombarding photos in the chat, but make sure you go that extra step to make sure that it's having. Post your hobby photos. You'll get feedback on them. But I agree with you, Paddy. I think Oldhammer's now the date on the calendar that most people look out for in New South Wales. And to your point, Andrew, the different states have their things going. I mean, like what we have going here in Western Sydney. I titled our little WhatsApp group New South Wales Podcasts, because that's really what it is, right? And then you've kind of got like the guys in Queensland and Starkey's up there running a lot of like big events, and they're doing 40, 50 person events. Everything seems to be Drunk Hammer or Alcohol Hammer or, Forex Gold.
That's Queensland. That's Queensland. Let's
yeah. Well, we'll see it in tomorrow night's game. But anyway, well, tonight's game by the time this goes out, in that thing. But the point being that, I think every scene has its own vibe, and as much as it can't just be a vibe anymore, hashtag 2+ podcast. It's true in the community sense, right? Like the vibe is there, and we're very much we're trying to add in an event ourselves to kind of feed into that, so that again we're all kind of like dads, family guys now, etc. Like I feel like what's in your state is where you're at. Outside of things like the Snake Eyes event, where people might fly to it as an annual teams event, or really big things like Castle Assault, etc., where people have it on the calendar, that ongoing event. And now I just hope that people in Sydney, they keep growing it from 40 to 50. If they tell me 50, I'm going to start telling people 60. And I forgot. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But also I put here global, right? Because crazy statement, guys. Crazy statement. Is Oldhammer the most regular running event that's large? Thank God Rob from TSN and Squarebase doesn't watch this. He'll fly to Australia to have a go at us. But again, like 40 players every 2 to 3 months. There's something there. There's magic there.
You're onto it, I reckon.
Definitely.
It's if you counted how big it's been, how big it's grown, and how constant it is, I think you'd say it would be up there with a lot of those, like you said, the big international continual ones. Definitely. I mean, 4 times a year, isn't it? It's not like once a year. It's
exactly. And
4 or 5,
I think we mentioned it just before in terms of how quickly it sold out. I think it's certainly a destination, and I hope, in fact, I'm confident that the guys will maintain the excitement and the way that they approach every tournament slightly differently. I really look forward to seeing what they're going to come up with next. I think the variety is one of the best things that works in their favor. The way that they've changed things each time, the way that they've set different expectations in terms of list building, in terms of what's going to potentially be more successful or otherwise, the way that they continue to evolve, sort of how they are trying to apply comp. I think it's all very healthy and very valuable for the community. So
I suspect that the next Oldhammer will be driven by the match playbook that is coming out. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, maybe they'll just
fingers crossed it's good.
yeah, exactly.
Cathay,
right.
by the way, new Cathay articles dropped.
Yep.
Go check it out.
Maybe they'll see our event, get the opportunity to come along. Shameless plug for the Behemoths doubles that's happening in July, event. By the way.
By the way,
Cathay, yep.
Quick vibe. Look at these old Slanesh Kiss themed riders. You can't even see that, so out of focus. But it's literally like everyone's got the band markings on there. And finally, I'll never get over this. I'll never emotionally recover from this. The one model I wanted was the Zinch Birdman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Did they release it?
No.
No.
He's gone, mate. They've lost the templates.
Yep.
He's not even printable anymore. For me going into the weekend, I think I'm just generally excited to get back to Oldhammer. I missed, I can't remember whether it was the last one or the one before, but I've certainly missed a recent one. And I'm just, again, I'm excited to get my army out, get it on the field against some very diverse lists and some very friendly people, and see how we go. And I think from a community standpoint, Renegades being such a big part of this event, the way that they've approached this construction comp, the way that the missions are designed, I think it's going to catch a lot of people by surprise if you haven't put that really careful thought into how things go. But I think that's all really good because it's encouraging people who might have approached this a little bit more laissez-faire to start thinking about maybe for next time whether or not it needs to be a little bit more tailored to the players pack. Now, that I think will do us. Thank you so much, Paddy and Andrew, for coming along. We very much appreciated having you here with us.
Thanks for having us.
It's fantastic. I love this production.
We would, of course, love to have you back in the future, and we'll sort out something from there. But before I let you all go, again, shameless plug for the Old World Behemoths first event. It is narrative doubles happening on the 27th of July. Let me just quickly pull up my calendar and just triple check that. Yep, the Sunday, the 27th of July. You can find the players pack for that on the episode 6 show notes of the Old Behemoths podcast. If you're looking on YouTube, it's literally the video before this one as well. Go have a look at that, download the players pack, check it out. If you're interested, shoot us an email. We'd love to see you there. We have 10 teams so far. We have a soft cap at 16. So by all means, get in quick and secure your spot. If there's the ability for us to blow that out a little bit more with the help of Exiles, we'll try and do so if we hit the 16. But 10 teams so far has been a really positive response, and we'd love to get a few more people in. Very newbie-friendly event. So if you have someone who's a little bit unsure of the game, by all means, bring them along. Have a bit of fun on the day. Get some really unique prizes. And see how you go. But that is enough from us, from myself, from Alex, Paddy, and Andrew. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we will see you next time.
See you on Saturday.
Thanks, guys.
Ciao.